Have you ever loved someone so deeply that even when they were gone, you still waited for them to come back? This is the story of one dog, an ordinary street dog with an extraordinary heart. A dog who showed the world what it means to love without conditions, without limits, and without end. His name was Hachiko. And even if you've heard his name before, today you'll see the story not as a legend, but as a heartbeat that refused to stop believing. It was the early 1920s in Japan, a country rebuilding itself after war and change. One day, a professor named Hidesaburo Ueno stopped at a train station in Shibuya. Among the noise of commuters and the sound of trains, he noticed a small, trembling Akita puppy. Lost, alone, hungry. Most people walked past, but not the professor. He bent down, offered the puppy a piece of bread, and in that moment, something unexplainable happened. The dog looked up, and in his eyes there was trust. Fragile, hesitant, but real. The professor took him home, named him Hachiko, meaning the eighth son, a name that symbolized luck and eternity. From that day forward, they were inseparable. Every morning, the professor walked to Shibuya Station to catch his train to the university. And every morning, Hachiko followed, tail wagging, eyes glowing with pride. He would sit beside the platform, watching his human board the train. And then, in the afternoon, just as the sun began to dip, he'd return, waiting for that familiar face to appear again through the crowd. It became their ritual. A silent promise repeated every day. Neighbors began to notice. Some smiled, some laughed, but everyone felt a quiet warmth seeing the little dog waiting. Rain or shine, snow or wind. There was something pure about it, a loyalty that asked for nothing in return. But one spring day in 1925, the professor never came back. He had suffered a sudden brain hemorrhage during a lecture and passed away. Hachiko didn't know that, of course. All he knew was that the train came back that afternoon, and his master didn't step off. He waited and waited, and when night fell, station workers gently tried to move him away. But the next morning he returned, and the next day, and the next week, and then for the next 9 years. At first, people thought he was just confused, a stray too stubborn to move on. But as time passed, something remarkable happened. Every afternoon, right on schedule, Hachiko would appear at the same spot by the station gate. He would sit there quietly, scanning every passenger's face, hoping to see the one he loved most. Rain poured. Snow fell. Summers burned. Still, he waited. People began to notice again. This time, not with laughter, but with awe. Students from the university came to feed him. Shop owners left scraps of food near his resting spot. Newspapers wrote about him, the dog who waited. And soon, all of Japan came to know his name. In 1932, a newspaper story titled, "Faithful Dog Awaits Dead Master 9 Years," spread across the nation. Hachiko became a symbol of devotion, a mirror reflecting the deepest part of what humans long for, a love that doesn't fade even when hope seems gone. Children were taught about him in schools. Artists painted him. Writers described him as the soul of loyalty itself. But for Hachiko, it wasn't about fame. He wasn't trying to make a statement. He was just waiting for his friend. March 8, 1935. It was a cold morning in Shibuya. People walking to work noticed the familiar figure curled in his usual spot by the station. Quiet, still, but this time, Hachiko was gone. When they realized he had passed, people gathered around silently. Some wept. Even the train conductor paused to bow his head. They say loyalty is invisible, that you can't see love, only feel it. But that morning in Shibuya, it was visible to everyone. A bronze statue now stands where he once waited. Every April, thousands gather to lay flowers at his feet. Tourists take pictures, yes, but the real story isn't in the statue. It's in the way people look at it, with a kind of reverence, a quiet ache, as if something deep within them recognizes the truth. Because all of us, at some point in our lives, have waited for someone who never came back. Maybe it was a friend, a love, a parent, maybe it was a dream we couldn't let go of. And in that waiting, we understand Hachiko. Hachiko wasn't just waiting for a man. He was waiting for love to return. He believed, against all odds, that one day the person he loved would step off that train again. That's what faith looks like when it's pure. Some might call it foolish. But maybe that's what makes it sacred. In a world that teaches us to move on fast, Hachiko reminds us that there's beauty in staying, in loyalty, in memory, in believing that love is never truly wasted. Because maybe love doesn't end when someone leaves. Maybe it lives on, in the waiting, in the remembering, in the way we keep showing up. If you ever visit Tokyo, go to Shibuya Station. Find the statue of Hachiko. Stand there for a moment. Listen, really listen. You'll hear more than the sound of trains and traffic. You'll hear the echo of a heartbeat that never stopped waiting. And maybe, just maybe, you'll remember someone, or something, that once waited for you too. Here's the question. In a world that's always rushing forward, who or what would you wait for? Because sometimes, love isn't measured in how long it lasts. It's measured in how deeply it stays, even after goodbye. This was He Waited Every Day, the dog who never gave up. If this story touched your heart, share it, because someone out there might just need to be reminded that love, real love, never gives up.